Imagine being like 60, mid 60s, and you barely find out who your dad is, your biological dad, not father, because there is a difference, but your biological dad, the one who gave you cells. You find out who he is, and he's 95 years old and now has dementia, Alzheimer's, or severe memory issues. And his children, those that he raised but were not biologically his, because his biological children he left, and there's like 6 other ones. But imagine finding out all at the same time that you have this father man who is 95 years old, and then you have these half siblings, and you would think that, hey, the world is opening up. I'm going to have, new relatives. I'm going to learn about all these people who have been, who are related to me, and everything is dandy and great, right? Wrong. What's happened over the last month with pertaining to my mom has been kind of wild and truthfully kind of sad and frustrating and also hurtful. And it just seems to line up with a lot of our experiences on fathers. And we're going to talk about fatherhood today. Pull up a chair, pull up a stool, pull up a beanbag, pull up something, because we're about to talk about Father's Day. And if your house is anything like mine, Father's Day causes a little bit of angst, a little bit of anxiety, and a little bit of depression. And relationships are complicated, so we shouldn't expect any different when it comes to a relationship between a child and a parent, and in this case, a child and their dad. So let's take a step back. My mom did one of those DNA tests that you turn in. And they tell you, what parts of the world your DNA comes from, your ancestry comes from, and it also connects you with people that are likely to be a relative and a strong relative. And so, without going into too much detail, essentially what happened was my sister was able to connect my mom into her half siblings, and yes, we did confirm that they are indeed the children of this dad in question, and they are related to my mom as well. And they are all siblings of the same mom and the same dad. And then my mom had a different mom, but then the same dad, making her like a half sibling of them. And they're all like in their 60s at this point, and living in different state from us. And so basically I have a new biological grandfather and several biological aunts, and I think one or maybe 2 uncles. So, I mean, it just, I'm in my 40s, so learning about that this late in life was a bit shocking for me. And, initially I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And I was hopeful, and I felt like, well, maybe we could explore, the opportunity to have a phone call, learn more about one another, especially for my mom, of course, first for her, because those are her half sibling. And I was actually very hopeful that perhaps they could link her in to her biological dad, because I've watched my mom many times in life be in so much pain about not having her biological father around, and not feeling, just feeling so much of a void from that, as naturally anybody would. So just to kind of recap, because I know it could be a little bit confusing, and it was for me as well. So this, I'm just going to call him grandpa figure, had a whole family, like 5 or 6 kids with one woman, was married, and apparently decided to leave that family, and at some point had my mom perhaps in between his 2 different families, and wasn't around for her, and then goes to make a new family with a woman who he didn't end up having any biological children with, and she had children, and so apparently then he raised her children, and then all these years have passed, and they, the kids have grandkids now, so he has this whole other family that he's, been taking care of, and not taking care of his biological family, nor my mom. And at this point, I just gotta stop to tell you, look, the the grandpa man's wife who passed away last year was a self-described Christian. Excuse me. I watched part of her memorial, and her son talked about God, and there were scriptures and everything, and that's great, and that's wonderful, and I'm glad to hear it. Except for I cannot understand, and they both were self-proclaimed Christians. I cannot for the life of me reconcile how a person can identify as a Christian and then not take care of your children. Like, those are two completely different things. And when you're a Christian, you do what's right in the eyes of the Lord, and what's doing right in the eyes of the Lord means taking care of your children, even if you're not in a marriage. And your life, and I'm not saying that we're perfect, we all fail, we lose our patience, we do things that are not Christian, we repent for those things, and we move forward, and God forgives us by his grace and mercy. But to have a pattern of continual neglect of your children is not of God. Okay? And when someone does that, they are being not a good witness of the Lord, because that is not the love of God working in their life, period. But back on the subject that we've been discussing. So my sister ends up texting, I believe, one of the siblings that the grandpa man did raise, and then, which is not my mom's sibling, and is not his biological child. And it's just been crickets, nothing back, as to my understanding. And then the other side of the family, her biological siblings, my sister provided them with her phone number, and they never called, and it's been weeks. And that was just really disheartening, because it's like, I guess I just don't understand. I'm the type of person that it's like, at least call, get to know the person, have a conversation, say, hi, hello, I'm so-and-so. I'm sorry we didn't have the opportunity to, grow up together or get to know one another through the years. Can we somehow try to bridge that gap now? Who is your family? What do you enjoy doing? What's important to you? How has this all, because they haven't had him around either, so there's that common ground through that as well. But no, at least for now, and we're already, I think, a month out from, her siblings finding out that she exists, and my mom finding out that they exist, and at least the children of the grandpa man who are not biologically his knowing that my mom exists. And it's just a mess, to be honest with you. This is what happens when people are not, they don't stay together. They make families with all different kind of people, and it's fragmented, and there's pain, and there's angst and anxiety and depression and disconnection, and and this is sad, because the foundation for a strong community is a strong family, and this is definitely not what God intended for any of them. And it is very sad that it has become this way so often in our society. And so when I think about Father's Day coming up, This is the most current father related issue that's going on in my family. I did want to kind of go into more detail, in a separate video about some of the struggles that my husband and I have in regards to fatherhood, as it comes to our attempt to have children, and then his father, and then my father. But I just kind of wanted to put it out here today that, look, my mom found out in her 60s that her biological father is still alive. He's 95 years old. He has memory issues, but other than that, he appears to have been a man who stood by his children that he raised as his own, even though they were not biologically his, their whole life. And then he allegedly abandoned 7 other of his biological children for. And I just think it is really sad, and it's just disheartening. And so if you're listening to this, just know that I feel for you, and if you have gone through something similar, I'm sorry. It sucks. It's just, people, I think, they don't understand the damages that they cause to other people. And I will never for the life of me understand how a man who has children, who doesn't take care of their children, or a woman, it could be a mother too, could lay their head down at night and know that they have children out there somewhere that they have no idea how they're doing, how they're living. It's incomprehensible to me. And I kind of just wanted to know from you all, how, does anyone have the same experience finding out that they have a father or a grandfather super late in life, and then it appears that nothing may actually come from that? Because it's kind of like, well, I was telling my mom in the beginning, look, maybe God brought this into your life because, he's trying to bring healing to you, and maybe there'll be an opportunity for you to even meet your dad if you wanted to before he passes away. He's 95 years old. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to meet siblings and have a new great relationship. Maybe some restoration and happiness and joy can come from a broken situation, because God does make beauty out of ashes. But at least for now, nothing's happening, and that's, it's painful. It's painful for me to see her hopes kind of get up, and then, nothing come from that. And then for me, it's just kind of sad. It makes me feel strange, like there's all these biological people out there that are related to me that I'll probably never meet, and I don't live that way. Family is important to me. And I also want to add this: if you are a person and your father is not involved in your life because they have chosen not to be in your life, I want you to know that you are valuable in the eyes of the Lord, and He is your Father, and He will never hurt you. He will never leave you. He will never disown you. He has nothing but good for you. He loves you with a love that you could never imagine. And if you turn to Him today and you just be open with Him, just go before Him with a humble and contrite heart and spirit. Tell Him the pain that you're feeling, having not had a father in your life, or not a good father in your life. Ask Him to heal the deepest part of the pain in you, and I promise you, He will heal you. Now, healing doesn't always come instantaneously. Sometimes it's a journey that you work through in prayer and tears with the Lord, but He will heal you and set you free. And that I can promise you. He's healed much of my own pain in relation to struggles I had with my own dad, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that, because that has helped me to forgive. And if you're struggling with forgiveness too, the Lord is there. He's there to help you to forgive if you ask Him today. So fatherhood is challenging. It's a painful subject for a lot of people, and I just want you to know that I understand, and the Lord definitely understands, and He is the greatest Father that we could ever hope to have.